Did I miss out on one of the best batches of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof in recent years? Let's find out. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Hutch, and thanks so much for joining me on this journey through the world of whiskey. So today we're going to be diving into a sample sent to me by James Street. Again, James, you're killing it, making this channel have a lot more content to create, which is awesome. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Batch C922, which was one that I was not able to get last year in 2022, but heard great things. I think Fred Minnick had this like 18 on his top 100 of last year. A lot of people were raving about it. I just never ended up seeing it and wasn't able to pick one up. James was kind enough to send it along so that I can do that. I might be able to compare it to others from last year as well in the future, but wanted to see it on its own terms. And kind of my question with this is that, did I miss out on one of the best bourbons of last year? In fact, wanted to ask you guys too, are there certain batches or certain bottles or certain releases in the past that you look back on and you're like, dang, I missed out on one of those best releases and maybe I passed it up on shelves or maybe I just didn't see it? Want to know, start a conversation around that because I kind of started feeling that way when I heard all the hype around this release. But now we get the chance to actually taste it, nose it, everything, and dive in. So let's do that. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof is a 3 times a year release from Heaven Hill. They always have an A, B, and C batch, which is great, ups your chances of seeing it. In terms of stats on this particular batch, like all Elijah Craig's, the mash bill is 78% corn, 10% rye, and 12% malted barley. This particular batch has a proof point of 124.8. It's 12-year-old non-chill filtered whiskey, which is always a great buy. And when you consider the fact that it's usually available for around 70 bucks, is an extra great buy. All right, let's dive in on the nose and the palate and the finish. Cheers, everybody. Oh, baby. The caramel is dripping on this. It's almost like a butterscotch note. There's coffee, vanilla, cinnamon. But man, that like caramel note is so prominent. I really like that coffee and cinnamon kind of mixture going on. A little bit of honey as well. Again, that brown sugar is nice. This is sweet, it's rich, it's inviting. Very little ethanol to speak of, which is nice. Almost a marshmallow quality as well, like that kind of sweetness, really pungent sweetness. Maybe a touch of like really nice bright red cherry as well. Wow. That is a really nice nose. I could smell that all day. Okay, let's dive in. Let's hope the palate lives up to it. Cheers. Oh yeah, that's good. A lot of that transferred over from the nose. Rich brown sugar, good caramel, good cinnamon, more oak on the palate for sure. Tiniest bit of like a peanut, but maybe more like a hazelnut too. Something dark and roasted as well coming on. Really, really nice. A little bit of honey as well. Some good vanilla, just like vanilla extract. Less fruit. I didn't get much cherry on that sip, just more of these deep, rich flavors. There are nice, like bright sweet notes. I think that vanilla really helps balance it out like that. And again, that caramel leans almost toward that butterscotch end of the spectrum as well. All right, great first sip. It's also warm and enveloping on the palate. Let's dive in for a second sip, see if we can pick out some more flavors. Cheers. Yep, again, nice. Couple more flavors came out for me there. More of a char, a little bit of a corn sweetness along with that, but a nice heavy char note, and then a little bit of tobacco even on the back end. So nice sweet tobacco coming through. Again, it's got those classic, it just brown sugar, caramel, butterscotch, vanilla, cinnamon, honey, all there. Really nice classic bourbon. And I think one of the strengths of it is just that it's robust, really robust in the mouth, and then it sweetens up for the finish. Maybe gets a little bit of an oak or tannic note as well, but nice and sweet with that like vanilla and honey sticking around for me. All right, let's go in and actually evaluate that finish for the third sip. Cheers. Yeah, finish is nice and long. I got more of a spike and a presence of cinnamon there that is carrying through on the finish for this sip especially. There is more of like a chocolate note kind of wrapping around this sip for me and transitioning into the finish. And then there is that like tobacco and oak presence to it as well. This is really nice. I love the robust, sort of charred, a little bit even maybe smoky note to it. A little bit of that coffee coming through. But it's mostly those classic rich bourbon flavors of the caramel and cinnamon and oak. And a couple of lighter flavors like the vanilla and honey to balance it out. Good brown sugar as well throughout. To me, this is classic bourbon done really, really well with a nice robust experience overall. Just enough to give it a darker edge. Really, really nice batch. All right, everybody, that is a great batch of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. The only other batch I was able to get last year was the B522. I do also have a 123 from this year so far. So I'll have to do some comparing in the near future, but this is a really solid batch, and it does make me think like, man, I wish I had seen this because this would have been a great pickup. It's just quintessential bourbon done really, really well, which is what you're hoping for most Elijah Craig Barrel Proof batches for sure. Let me know again in the comments below, are there batches or releases that you are kind of kicking yourself that you didn't get? I don't want to be the only one because this is a really, really solid batch of whiskey. Until I see you guys again for another video, all I can say is keep drinking good whiskey. Hopefully you see the batches and the releases that you really want, and cheers.